Real 92.3 Big Boys Neighborhood. I'm in the studio right now with someone I'm so honored to be in the studio with. I'm talking 3-time gold medalist, musician, skateboarder, snowboarder, just all around. Look, I'm going to put it out there. GOAT. I'm saying it now. You're the GOAT. Shaun White in the studio right now. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. This is so cool. I'm such like a Olympic nerd. I don't even say nerd, but I mean, it's just the Olympics is something that I've always watched with my family. Like I remember watching, Summer Olympics, 96 in Atlanta and watching the gymnastics girls just get the gold.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually named after a Winter Olympian.
Oh, wow.
Just the name, not like any kind of significance, more just like my mom was pregnant with me.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there was this ice skater from Russia. She won the silver and my mom was like, that's a great name. I like it. So, Natalia.
I'm named Shaun after a professional surfer named Shaun Thompson.
Oh, look at that.
So my dad loves surfing and ended up naming me Shaun. But the Olympics is amazing. I did the same. You know, I just never imagined I would be there because snowboarding at that time wasn't really a sport. You know, it was like, oh, this is interesting. These guys are like, we weren't really accepted on the mountains and people didn't want us around. And it's like this rebel sport. And then all of a sudden, like X Games started and then boom, we're in the Olympics and I had a chance to go. And I just thought that was so amazing.
I mean, what you've done is it already has been down in the history books. And it's just one of these things where you came back and all eyes are on you. So not only is there, I'm sure, the own pressure that you're putting on yourself to come back and do the best that you can do. But of course, everyone else is like, are you going to do it? Because I even remember a couple of years when you came, and we're going to get to Aaron Style in a little bit, but in a couple of years, you and I sat down, we talked about Aaron Style, and I tried to get it out of you. And you're like, well, we're seeing, da, da, da. And then just being able to see you up there again. Can you run down the day just really quickly of okay, it's the day that you're going to win the gold medal. You're going up there, and this is before any run. How do you feel?
I would be lying to say I was tired and I was just kind of like, really, today? Because it was really cloudy. It was freezing cold. It was slightly snowing. And we'd had these beautiful sunny days. And I was just like, why couldn't today be one of those days? And so we get up there. And the issue is that when it's cloudy like that, the color of the snow matches the sky. So you're doing multiple flips. You can't see where you are. Yeah. You're basically hoping to land on these blue lines that they draw on the halfpipe walls. And so anyways, I'm a little frustrated, I'm a little tired, and it's just early morning in Korea. We're like, okay, getting my breakfast, and we get up there. But honestly, I was a little unmotivated, and then boom, I'm at the top of the pipe. We start doing our runs. You got only, so much time to warm up, and first run was a little challenging, second run a little easier, and then I started throwing my harder tricks, and that's like what wakes me up. So I'm like, okay, that was a little scary, but I'm all right. I did that trick, and you make your way through it. And then all of a sudden the contest starts and it's on. So I remember being a little frustrated, but I remember thinking that everyone's in the same boat together. And if they're frustrated, then, if I can find just somehow to make myself really love the pipe today, I'm going to be in a better position than them.
I feel like you couldn't have, if this was a movie, you'd walk out of the movie and you'd say, that would never happen though.
Yeah.
Come on. They just wrote the way where you came back and the score and then just the third run just hitting it so well.
Thank you.
Do you remember what your first thought was right when after you hit the last one and then you just come down that center?
I felt like a movie. Honestly, you think I've been hoping and dreaming of this moment for so long. Even the night before, I could barely sleep. I'm just running over possible scenarios for the next day. And ever since Sochi, honestly, the disappointment of the performance at the previous Olympics, all those years leading up to it, and now it's tomorrow, or it's this day, this next 20 minutes, this is happening. And so all that bottled up into this nervous pressure and excitement and all those things. And I remember being at the top of the pipe, and for the last run, I'm in second place, and I'm thinking silver, I guess I could live with it. Yeah. Obviously, it's an accomplishment just to be an Olympian. And then I'm thinking, you're not going to be happy with that. And you can win it. So just do it. Yeah. And I remember it was silent. Everyone at the bottom, so silent. I'd never heard it so quiet before. And I could actually hear the music playing over the loudspeakers. And it was this Post Malone song that I recognized. And I was like, oh, I like this song.
Dear God,
and then
please
I was
let it be congratulations.
It was one of those. Yeah, it was either Rockstar or Congratulations or
Both
something.
would have
And
been
I was
perfect.
like, okay. and they have these flags that are put at the side of the pipe so you can see if it's windy or not. They're not moving. There's no wind. I was like, this is my moment.
Yeah.
And I just remember kind of looking at my coaches, and I didn't even say anything. They're just like, do it.
That's
win
awesome.
it. And I dropped in, and I sent that first hit bigger than I've gone in a long time. And the special part about that run is that the second trick I did is a trick that previously put me in the hospital. I was in New Zealand training. I attempted that trick, and boom, I busted my face open. I had like
62
stitches in my face, and I had these badly bruised lungs, so I couldn't fly home because I had this blood in my lungs. And so awful experience, and to like overcome the fear of doing that trick and doing that combination. I'd never done that before in competition. I just used that pressure and that like the fact that like it's now or never. I gotta do it, and it just pulled through.
Oh my! And then you win the gold.
And then my mom's there crying, everybody's crying. It was like the craziest experience. I mean, I have to watch the video still to like remember that it happened, you know, because it's such a whirlwind after you win a medal. It's nuts.
When you won it, did you know that had been the 100th medal for?
I didn't know.
Wow.
For the United States. Yeah, it was the 100th gold medal in the history of the Olympics.
How exciting.
For the U.S. and it was just awesome, honestly. And every Olympics I've been to, I've gotten what's called a victory lap. So I win with my first run. I'm standing at the top. No one beats my score.
Yeah.
And then I just like casually go down and collect my medal. I had to work for this one. I'm sitting there at the top. I'm like, did I really leave it all down to this last minute? And I won in qualifying, and I did this crazy run in qualifying so that I could be in that position. I foresaw, I was like, I want to drop in last. I know I want the pressure, and I got it. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, this is what you wanted. Here we go. And made it happen.
God,
so,
congratulations.
Yeah.
It's so exciting. I was in my living room with one of my friends, and we were just like, yeah, I won the gold. This is amazing. So, and you have the gold medal here, which I think is so awesome, because I was like wondering, I was like, oh my God, am I going to see it? Because I mean, like, I think this will be the only time in my life that I might meet an Olympian with a gold medal that
It's like, when else can you cruise around with the medal?
Oh
you know
my
what
God,
I mean? Without being that guy. So it's like,
and you're
you know
here
what?
real, like, I'm surprised
pumped.
you're not wearing it. That's how every like rapper comes in here. They're like, oh no, I got the 5.
Yeah.
So trust me, if
this
you could do
was
it
the
anywhere,
first gold, then this was the second gold record. No. For me, it's so amazing, and it's just like it just felt so good, because honestly, after the injury, it made me question a lot of things, and even family members were calling me. They're like, "Man, you got medals. You've got, you know, you're well off from doing this sport. You're lucky to be in such an amazing position. Like, do you really want this? Does it really mean that much to you?" And honestly, I had to ask myself those questions. And then, you know, from that point to like recovering, overcoming the fears, and then to win, man, and to win in that fashion, I was just so happy.
Definitely.
And I'm so pumped. And
speaking of that injury though, mentally, how was that injury? Would you say was the hardest injury?
Yeah, because it was the most like, you know, visually jarring.
It was.
You know, it's not like, even if you break something, it's not like you're seeing the broken bone and you're like, oh, this is, you know, it was like, I look in the mirror and I see this. Like, I couldn't recognize myself. I looked in the mirror and I'm just like, what happened?
Yeah.
And so, and what's going to happen next? What's recovery time going to be like? All these things. And I was thankful at that point that it wasn't something that needed to be, you know, reattached or something that I strained, and because that recovery time would have been,
stitches is pretty gnarly.
Rough. Yeah. It's rough, and it's your face. It's like trying to eat, trying to brush your teeth. Those things. I'm like brushing, and there's stitches falling out, and it's just like, you know, really awful experience. But I was thankful that I could still ride.
Yeah.
You know,
when if I can ask just like a technical question, was it the first hit or was it the second one that when you came down that did most of the damage?
Yeah, it was the second impact. So it's crazy. Like, people forget that, you know, you see it on TV, but the wall itself is like made out of ice, and it's 22 feet tall, and you're going downhill. So you're going so big and so fast. And I flew at least, you know, probably 16, 17 feet, you know, usually it's in that range to upper 20s, how high we go out. And I clipped the top of that wall. And so when I hit the top, I then bounced 22 feet to the bottom. And that's where I caught my edge and I hit my face. And so it all happened so quickly. And then I'm just sitting there like a little dazed. I didn't get knocked out, but I was dazed. And then the blood started to pour. And I'm like, having the best day to all of a sudden I'm in a helicopter flying to the hospital. I'm just thinking, what do I do next?
Was there at any point between those 5 weeks that you were like, that there might have been like we're not going to go and try and qualify?
Not exactly, but it was just more like, what is it going to look like, and how are we going to get back into it? You know what I mean? And so after I cleared that hurdle of like, you know what, I'm going to continue on. We're going to get through this. And I had the support from my coach and friends and family, people like that. You know, there was the big question raised of like, is this something you really want to do? But you know, push that aside because I'd worked so hard for it, and I'm so close. It's just like walking away would be obviously now. It was all knowing, worth it. You know, like looking back, man, it was all worth it. Like, that's amazing. I dug deep and made it happen, and so.
Who can I ask you? Who's like been the most person who's either like, because I think you were trending topic on Twitter. I sent out a congratulations. Everyone sends one out, but was there one person that you were like, oh, that was pretty dope? They sent me a congratulations.
Man, it's been nuts. I mean, it was like David Beckham, and it's been Kelly Slater, Perry Farrell, like all these amazing musicians and athletes, and you know, it's just been nuts. So I was just pumped. I mean, you forget because you're in the moment and you're doing it's like, you know, any other day there's a half pipe and I got to do these tricks. And then I think it was the second most viewed, you know, Olympic event in the history of the Olympics. So you forget how many people were watching it. And I got flooded with these videos of people just at home screaming at the TV for me. And like, it was just awesome.
That is
honestly.
Great. But now, does this mean that you're done? When it comes to going to the Olympics?
After this win? Yeah. No, I mean, that's what was crazy about the last Olympics. And I think it's more just how people are programmed. You know, you see people at the Olympics and go, oh, this is their one chance. Or like gymnastics, like the girls maybe have 2 years in them, but never a third or something. But for me in snowboarding, like I just keep going. I'm just so motivated. And it's like, you know, you work hard, you win, you achieve this goal. It's this fulfillment. And it's like, I need that in my life. So I definitely will keep snowboarding. And then more exciting is that they put skateboarding into the Olympics.
Shut up. Oh, I didn't hear about this.
So 2020 in Tokyo, they're going to have skateboarding. Nice. So I'm like, man, I would love to, because I'm just as passionate. I've been pro in skateboarding since I was 16. So I was like, man, this would be a really awesome chance to like go for something brand new. I've never done it before. And to go skateboard at the Summer Games, man, it'd be nuts.
Well, we're definitely going to be looking out for that.
For sure.
And earlier I had called you the GOAT because I mean, I'm putting it down there, and I'm sure, and I know other people have said it as well. But in your mind, who else do you consider when you think of the GOAT when it comes to sports? Who do you consider? Who's a part of that elite group?
The greatest? I mean, I don't know. I always think of like one of my favorite sports heroes from when I was a kid was Muhammad Ali. I remember like reading a book about him when I was young, and I was just like, this guy's incredible. And just the way he spoke and the charisma he had, he was a true champion. And then on top of it, he had this whole personality he was bringing to the table. So you got guys like him, you know, obviously like someone like Michael Phelps, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, those guys. So I'm so honored, honestly, to be considered in that group, like Kelly Slater, like these guys that have not only like done it, but done it time and time again. And for, you know, this many years, it's crazy. Like my coach at the Olympics used to compete with me. He's like my buddy from when we competed, and he's now my coach. Like, it's crazy. Like, I've been able to last this long and at this high of a level in this sport. So I think that's probably my greatest accomplishment. Honestly, it's not one win or another. It's just consistently being in this position in this sport. So I'm pumped. I'll take it. I'll take the GOAT status. All right.
I've definitely seen, you know, different documentaries here and there when it comes to you and the work ethic that you have put in. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people have said over and over again, and using different words of just your dedication to it, the time that you put it. Like, it always reminds me very much of like a Kobe Bryant or like a Tom Brady, where it's so much more than just, okay, we're going out and practicing today. It's the mechanics of it. It's this like all encompassing of putting your entire heart, soul, brain, everything into it. Do you find that it's ever hard to disconnect when it comes to the amount of yourself that you put into the sport?
Yeah, in a way, it's crazy. I mean, that's like the first thing I did when I got home. As I was like, I was so jet lagged. I woke up at 3 a.m. and I was like, man, I've been putting this off long enough. I was like chopping the hedges in the yard, because honestly, your life gets put on hold.
It does,
and it's crazy. It's like relationships and friends and these things, and you're that guy that just pops into town for a day and you're like, hey, what's going on? And like, people don't invite you to things because they just assume you're out of town, which most of the time you are. And so it's tough, and that sacrifice of like putting everything in second place compared to your goals, and then like getting people that will join you on that trip.
Yeah.
You know, my coach, he just had a newborn baby. His wife, you know, so excited. And he like, I think the ultimate sacrifice to put his life on hold to come help me. And so it's like this amazing group that you have together, and you'll go, you know, and you win medals. It's nuts. So in the end, it's rewarding, and it's definitely worth it. But there is a huge amount of sacrifice, and it's more than just like working at something. It's like knowing it. It's like you got to feel it and believe it, and just like, man, I was at the Olympics. I'd never done that run before, but I just knew I was going to do it because I just felt it. And I had practiced so hard to get to that point. I wasn't going to let it go.
I can't even imagine that feeling.
So it's bizarre.
I get like winded when I'm like, oh, I took the stairs today, guys. Awesome. Victory for me.
Did it.
Speaking of the future for you, do you ever, I'm not asking you like, oh, right now, but do you ever see yourself being like a dad one day?
I'm sure, yeah. I mean, I'd love that. I mean, I imagine I'd be a pretty great dad. I'd just have like tons of snowboards and skateboards and like surfboards and whatnot. But you know, it's nuts. I mean, it's such a crazy world, and I'd love to be able to like put down roots like that. I mean, it's those simple things in life that I'm like, man, I'm gonna cut the hedges today.
Yeah.
I ordered these shears on Amazon. I'm gonna really get after it. My neighbors are like, isn't that the gold medal that's out there? I'm just like hacking away.
Do you like know your neighbor? Like, do your neighbors know that it's you? Or
yeah, for sure, for sure. I say hi, but I'm probably a great neighbor because I'm never home making noise or whatnot. But
are they ever trying to come over like, hey, can we borrow some sugar? And by the way, where's your gold medal? Just bring it out.
It was funny because the other night I was like, hey, it'd be fun to say hi, and they're like, we're gonna watch the opening, the closing ceremonies if you guys would like to join us. So I come over there and I had the medal, so I brought them all over.
That's cool.
And it was this hilarious scene where like, they had just moved to LA from New York, and there was this stereotype, obviously, like everyone's famous in LA. And they're like, this is ridiculous. Like I'm at dinner and I had all my medals laid out, and I'll never forget my friend who's my neighbor was just like, I'll try this one on, I think. This one's calling to me. I'll try the Vancouver medal this time. You know what? Sochi was definitely no this one.
This one,
it's super funny.
Oh my God, how exciting!
But yeah, really, really great to come home, and the welcome's just been insane. Like just getting on the airplane, the announcement over the intercom. We got one of our gold medalists flying with us, and like
the whole plane
just
was like,
applauding, and just it's been amazing.
That's dope. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.